Alright, welcome to another class. In our last lesson, we discussed on how to insert image on our web page. Okay, so today we are going to go a little bit further and discuss on some other tags. Okay, good. So I'm going to introduce what I called a div tag, a div tag, div tag, and now, the word div, you can see it is open and close. The word div is the short form for divide. So what div does is that it allows you to carve out a particular section of your web page, okay, to perform basic operation on that section such that the operation does not affect other aspects of the page. It's only that section that you want to work with that you can perform those operations on. It's just like when you say that imagine a class that you have student in there. Let's say that class is GS2. Okay, so and there are students there, and you now said good morning, students. Definitely that good morning, students simply means you're saying you are greeting all the students in that class. So definitely you will get response from all the students in the class. But when you mention a specific name, like for instance, in a particular class where you have a group of students and you now say good morning, Yinka, every other member of that class automatically know that you are not greeting them, but you are specifically directing your greeting to Yinka. So you will only be getting a response to your greeting from Yinka. Likewise, the div tag. It allows you to section out a particular portion or section of the entire web page that you want to work on, and you can give as many instructions to that particular section of your web page such that those instructions will not be binding on other aspects of the page. And for you to do that, you need to introduce what we call a class. You need to introduce what we call a class. Now just imagine in a school there are different rooms. All in the school buildings you have different rooms there, and all of them are called rooms until they are labeled. A room can be labeled JS2, another room can be labeled JS1, another room can be labeled JS3. But initially they were all rooms, but the moment you place a tag on that room, you give that room a class name. It was initially called room, but now you now place a tag on it. So that tag automatically assign that room a class name, and the class name can now be JS1, JS2, JS3. So anytime you want to give instructions, you can now give instruction based on the name of the class. And the instruction you are giving will now be binding on every student in that class. So if I say all GS1 students stand on your feet, okay, so it means that the room out of every other room that is tagged GS1 is the only one you are referring to, and the instruction stand will only be binding on the student in that class only. Okay, so that's what we mean by a class. So for instance, every div must have a class. Every div must have a class. Okay, so like in this case, I'm going to call this, give it a class. How do you give it a class? Just type in, just like an attribute, class, then give it a class name. I can say JSS1. All right, good. So let me copy this now. Copy, paste, copy, and paste. All right, so I'll change this to JS2. I'll change this to JS3. 3. So let me type here, this is J, this is year 7. Okay, let me copy this now. Control C to copy, and paste this, and I'll call this is year 8, and this is year 9. Control S to save. Now by default, every div has a transparent background. So when I refresh my browser now, you will only be seeing the content, but you will not see the div. Okay, you can see it has a transparent background unless you give it what's it called, a color. Now I'm going to talk about styling later and the type of styling that we have, but just ignore what I'm about to do now. This is just for the explanation of this particular section that we're talking about. So I'm going to type in here style. So I'm going to say the width to, let's say let's say 300. Okay, I'm going to set the width to 300 and the height to, let's say, 300 as well. Okay, and let's give it a background color. Forget about what I'm doing now, but background color, I'll say green. Okay, so you don't have to bother yourself about what I am doing right now. Okay, just for the explanation. So I'm going to copy this as well. I'm going to copy all of these things. I will only change the color. Okay, here as well. Okay, so let me space it out so that you understand. All right, so I'm going to change their color so that you'll be able to identify them. So this will be red, and this would be, let's say, blue. I'm going to save. All right, so I haven't done that. I'll go to my browser now and refresh. By default, they will all stack vertically on top of each other, except if I give it another instruction to do otherwise. So if I refresh now, you can see the yellow background, you can see the red, and you can see the the height. Can you see? Okay, so that is how you will be able to see it. Sorry, I didn't put unit here, so I'm going to put unit pixel. I will explain all of this later. Just focus on the div tag. Okay, go. So I will save, Control S to save, go back now and refresh. You can see that there's a difference now. Okay, you can see. Can you see now? Okay, so this is year 7, this is year 8, and this is year 9. Okay, let me make it smaller so that it will look nice. So right now let's pick 100. I think 100 will be nice. 100 will be nice. 100 will be nice. Okay, so we're going to save, go back and refresh. All right, fantastic, excellent. So you can see this now. Let me move this here. You can see this is year 7, year 8, and year 9. So you can see I can do anything in year 7, and whatever I am doing will not affect year 8, will not affect year 9, neither will it affect the whole entire page. And that's what div allows us to do. It allows you to take a particular section of the web page and perform a specific operation on that section without affecting the entire page, and that is what div does. And don't forget, every div must come with a class. So it is with the class name that you will be able to give them instruction. It is when you now give instruction to that class, every other classes that are not in that class will not be affected by that instruction, except items in that class. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you do that, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe hit on the subscribe button if you haven't, and God bless you.